subscribe to my channels.
What a beautiful looking butterfly. Wow. What's up, fish vibers? Nice moon. Not too sure if it's a full moon or a new moon, but guy, we have a problem. That moonlight there is actually the only light it have in my neighborhood. As a matter of fact, in the country, Trinidad. Yeah, guys, we have a blackout. We have a blackout. Trust me, I'm trying to be calm. So, let me just try to give a quick background of what's happening here. Let's set this up here. About minutes to 1 o'clock. About minutes to 1 o'clock, we had electricity out, nationwide blackout. Tobago still up and running. So, I have 3 ponds. Guys, this is real stress, man. So my cichlid pond has supply to go for 12 hours. One of those rechargeable battery operated air pumps. After about 4 or 5 hours, it was not working. So clearly the battery has depleted a bit. Guys, I just have this camera running here. It's really a function of where the fish swim. As you know, there's no lights, the pond is dark. Alright, so the cichlid pond, there's nothing there. This is the koi and shark pond. Still seeing some movement taking place with the sharks. Everything is okay here. I'm not seeing anybody gasping. But as you all know, this koi pond is 3,000 gallons. So you're thinking that you have enough water volume, but it's really a function of surface agitation, and the breeze is not blowing as much now. It's almost 9 o'clock, so it's about 8 hours in. The last update I got, the light company, and let me tell you, you're not getting no socials, can't get any real news feed. I just happen to, well, of course, I go in my vehicle. You get the radio there, so I was able to get a station that gave an update saying that the electricity company estimate time, resolution time, 12 midnight, which will put us 11 hours without electricity. I was talking to a friend, he was saying that the last time something like that happened, the light company had a fire, and they had a fire, and as such there was no electricity. And then you want to think really about the true impact. Now, for those who understand the kind of fish and know about fish, I think the amount of kois and, well, sharks, while those sharks would have serious value, may not really have takers, but kois kois and cichlids. Those things are valuable fish, and all of those fish are at risk. Now, as I said, I'm agitating the surface of the ponds with chlorine water from the pipe. The volume of the water in the pond is so much that this chlorine water agitating the surface isn't going to cause any chlorine burns to the fish. You know, um, and fish also, when the water is being agitated in that kind of rough way, they're going to go, below the surface unless they feel it's food. But from what I'm seeing, they staying below the surface. The agitation then creates oxygen, and the question is how long that does that last. I am like doing 1 hour intervals, agitating for say 5 minutes, total of 10 minutes, two rotations among 2 ponds. In total, I'll be there like about 50 minutes agitating the water in those 2 ponds, and then doing it in 1 hour intervals. Is that going to make a difference? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I have already mentally prepared myself, guys. That's just the truth. I've mentally prepared myself for fish loss, because if by 9 tonight those guys don't know what they're dealing with enough to give a proper update, it means that 12 midnight resolution time may not even be realistic. Now, as I said, minutes to 1 puts me at a 12-hour mark. Why am I using 12 hours as a marker? I guess really because on the last occasion when the electricity went and I lost fish, it was like about the electricity returned about 12 hours later. And within that 12-hour span, I lost about 60 fish. The lesson learned there was that bala sharks and the dolphins, the dolphin cichlids, blue dolphins, they are always the easier ones to go. They require the oxygen, and I lost a lot of those. I lost bala sharks, I lost red tail, albino red tail sharks, those smaller kind of exotic sharks, and the darkish reddish red tail aggressive type exotic sharks. Yeah, I lost those, and so I'm kind of gauging. But what I would say is that a 1,400-gallon pond had a lot of stock. I had the kois in there, the iridescent sharks in there, and all those other exotic cichlids, blue dolphins mainly, bala sharks, these red tail sharks, etc. So that was really the fish stock at the time. And I didn't lose any kois, I didn't lose any sharks, any iridescent, sorry. As I said, I lost the blue dolphins, a lot of them. Of course, as you know, I would buy 2-3 fish, they would breed, so they were offsprings. I lost a lot of them. I would have said the pond was heavily stocked. Now, the stocking of the pond now it's much better. The kois and sharks have their separate pond, and the cichlid have their separate pond. So the stocking is better, but am I going to take chance and say, well, yeah, the stocking is good, so I'm not going to lose fish? I don't want to take that chance, so that's why I am prepared to do an all-nighter here. And, intervals, hour intervals, agitating that water. But I will say there's going to come a time, now, depending on the amount of breeze that's also blowing, that creates agitation in the surface too. It'll ease up the amount of time I have to go to do it manually with the hose. But I'm gonna keep at it, because this is serious. But So what I'm doing, I'm really just, shooting the hose spray over the body of water all around, chlorine water straight from the pipe, and you're hoping with this agitation coupled with some breeze that blow that you can get some surface agitation which could probably create some oxygen. Guys, at this point I'm just trying something as opposed to doing nothing. What I will say is if it is it is finally discovered that it's really sabotaged our electrical grid as a result of government policy intent for mandatory, well, as the government put it, vaccinate to operate, safe zone initiative, where you have the choice to work in the safe zone or not work in the safe zone. As the government said, they're not mandating you to take a vaccine, but they're definitely telling you to work in this zone, you need to be vaccinated. You know, I mean, listen, we could spin legalese and semantics, right? But for me, what's my thoughts on that? Trust me, it's I am vaccinated, and as I speak to you now, I understand I have COVID. You know, I have a result that said I have COVID. I wasn't feeling well, um, at least within the last 2 to 3 weeks. I went for a test. When I went for the test, I was actually on the rebound. I had symptoms, a lot of different symptoms, and none, none excessive. Now, I have assessed that for a couple of things. Thank God. I would also say that it could be the Omicron, which they're saying is milder. I have been able to get that information. Or it could be the vaccine. I took AstraZeneca vaccines, and at this stage, my second dose was in October 2021. So I'm like, December, 3-4 months fully vaccinated. So it's like the peak time when the vaccine, I think efficacy is at prime, and so it's possible why probably I didn't get a terrible run with this virus. I haven't gone yet to take another test to see if I'm out in the clear. But the PCR test, can't remember the rate. The rating was 24.72, and from research it shows that it's not a very heavy viral load. I think the lower the number, the higher the viral load. And when you reach up to about between 35 to 40, it's when you can't spread any virus at all. So it means that I'm not out in the clear yet. And my main symptoms is really some little lethargy kind of thing, but you feel tired a bit every now and again. So I'm grateful that I didn't get, and I hope the worst is over. I pray, because the kind of experiences some people have gone through this virus, trust me, I don't want to experience that at all. But I say all that to say that I'm up, I'm ready to save my fishes. But it had me wondering about people's and their priorities, you know. If this is sabotage because you don't want to take a vaccine, and as a result of that, you don't believe the government should prevent you from entering your workspace. So you're not taking the vaccine, you don't want, and you don't believe the government should prevent you. So you decide to protest, and now you could possibly kill all my fish, right? You can kill all my fish and affect so many people who have other issues, because I'm not the only fish keeper. Then there's people who have other issues. It could have people with parents and family members at home on life-saving equipment that requires electricity. You know, I really hope this is not sabotage, but just coincidences. One time I remember we had a situation, they call it the day of total policing. Huh? And the police came out and they caused, well, they said was roadblocks looking for criminal elements. And they caused massive gridlock. You know, I can't remember exactly what was going on at that time with the government and the police service. But I know there was some political machinations taking place there. But of course, if there was an ambulance trying to take someone with an emergency situation to the hospital, the way how the roads was blocked up with that total day of total policing, it was mass mayhem. And I saw people suffered as a result of that. So there's this balance between self-serving rights and, you know, your right versus the rights of others. But you know, it's really speaks to the kind of I don't want to be disparaging, but I mean, how selfish could some people be? I mean, I get it though. I get it. I get it. This safe zone, and like I was looking at the news and looking at what's happening in Canada and Australia, and you know, I was talking to some of the persons in Australia and with their YouTube pages that I would follow. None of them answered me though, because I was saying, you know, I didn't recognize Australia with the kind of harsh rhetoric. You started to feel like the way how this virus was causing governments to operate felt so radical. And you were saying, well, these are democracies. You weren't expecting that. You know, I was listening to Canada and where they are, and the truckers and the gridlock and blocking the roadways. And then I heard the Prime Minister, I didn't hear it out of his mouth, so I don't want to misspeak, but to me, I heard they were passing law to seize and freeze the bank accounts of the people who were resisting. And I was like, what the F am I here listening to? I mean, you have an opposing view, and the government wants to pass a law to freeze your bank account. What's the relationship between you resisting a mandate and and because apparently what's happening there is the government is saying only vaccinated people must do these exercise and I guess free liberties, you know, work and that kind of thing. And those who unwilling to be vaccinated have decided they're going to resist. And then I'm hearing they want to freeze their bank accounts and the wreckers that would be called out to move these trucks eventually, if the wreckers resisted carrying out, executing that rule. There's some law passed again to penalize those drivers. And I was saying to myself, Canada and Australia, who would have thought they would have reached that point? And then I cannot reconcile this Omicron wave that we're in currently, the seeming less strain on the hospital system, the seeming more familiarity and similarity of this Omicron strain or variant to the common cold. And you kind of wonder, so why is the government not recognizing that obvious circumstance and dialing back all of these so-called mandatory or safe zone initiatives? I mean, the truth is, they may be saying that another more deadly variant could be around the corner. It wouldn't be obscene to say that, because I mean we saw so much strains already. But there's another school of thought that this could be the end of this, because when you talk about the Spanish flu, they said it lasted for about 3 years. I mean, in this scenario here, we go in approaching the third year. Um, I mean, the vaccines kind of slowed the herd immunity rollout, the lockdowns and all of that. So probably you might get an extra half a year or a year, but it's more likely that you're coming to the end, and as such, you're kind of wondering if it makes sense to continue with all of those kind of radical type decisions. I mean, I wasn't interested in taking any vaccine, I'll be honest. But when they came and they spoke about the Delta and how contagious it was and how deadly it was, I decided to take it. When I took it eventually, I didn't find the Delta look like it was really as contagious as they made it out to be. So I was like, is this trickery for me to take the vaccine? But guess what? I had taken it. And now, as I said, I think I got it. Well, I have a PCR report saying I have it. I have COVID. And I can't figure out how I got that, but likewise, so many other people. But me in particular, trust me if you know me, I have all the abilities to keep away and try to stay safe. So I can't pick up how. The only thing I would say is when I go to run, I won't wear a mask while running, and I'm running by myself. So I don't know if I picked it up just in the open air, because that's the only time I won't put on the mask while I'm running, you know. So I'll keep you all posted as to what's going on with the fish, and you know how I do my channel. If I lost my fish, you guys will be the first to know. I won't hide that. Keep it real. So guys, just so you know, electricity came back at almost 10 minutes to midnight by me, and as such, all my fish survived, thank God. And the truth is, I don't know if if the water agitation helped, or if it's just simply a case of I have the right amount of fish in those ponds and the oxygen lasted. I mean, it's almost 11 hours it was without electricity. And I did see articles in some of our newspapers where other people lost fish. Some guys lost hundreds of kois, etc. So, I mean, there's different circumstances in each situation. I strongly believe the size of ponds I have, together with this fish stock, they're not heavily overstocked, and yeah, some of that water agitation would have definitely helped. So again, thank God, but I really have to look for some more comforting solution investing in a UPS or something, because we never know when this could happen again, guys. Donald Fish Vibes out.
Subscribe to my channels.